Hello, welcome to this slightly different episode. I've been contacted by an art company called Arteza, and they've sent me some stuff to review. I've got this rather marvellous box of 60 acrylic colours, and what I'm really pleased with is a box of 36 metallic colours. Now, for ages now, I've been thinking about a painting that involves metallic paint, and I had a couple of colours, but silver and gold really, and that was it. But here, 36, and the picture I had in mind was this. I think it's an iguana. Tell me if I'm wrong. I thought I could see metallic colours in this animal. And I thought, how fantastic would it be to paint it in metallic? Not 100% metallic, so I think that would be too much, but the scale's mostly metallic. Now, these paints I've been given for free to review. That's all I've been given. I haven't been paid to do this review itself, so everything I say here is my opinion. And I'll give you a quick look at these. They come in these trays, and they've just got about every colour you can imagine. So, which got me thinking. My normal method of painting is just white and a very, very limited palette. So this is going to be a bit alien to me. Well, almost. I mean, when I've done coloured pencils, you do the same sort of thing. You try and mix as little as possible, and you just try and find the colour that you want. And so with these 60 rainbow colours, I'm not going to be mixing much, I expect. I'll just be finding the colour that matches this picture. Get it around the right way. Matches this picture as close as possible. Maybe a little bit of white or black to lighten or darken it, but it's going to be interesting. So give it a go. I'll tell you my thoughts on how it went during the painting and mostly after. As is my usual practice, I decided to completely cover the board in colour, and the most convenient one here was the solid blue of the sky, and as you'll see in a minute, I made the iguana a black silhouette. I chose the black because I found out that the metallics work really well on black, plus the iguana itself did have black in between its scales. Now I'm tracing the main lines just to give me a bit of a guide, and that tracing didn't quite line up with my silhouette, so I'm just fixing it here. And we're starting. I decided on the eye, it seems a good place, and I'm looking at the reference photo and choosing the tube of metallic paint that's closest to those colours. It's never going to be exactly like, because I'm doing something very different here. That kind of blue steely grey was the main base colour of these scales, and they were all had this kind of golden edge to them. And once I'd done this, the lizard was starting to look like it was made of brass, which I really liked. You can see how that I'd already gone straight into the highlights on the top part of the face. I was using a pearl white for that, which was the closest to pure white. It's still metallic. When you catch it in the light, it still shines. These metallic paints are really covering the black very well. And I found what I could do with them is put a thin layer, sort of dot as on the scales, and then go over it again with a thicker paint for the highlight. So I was getting kind of a mid-tone and a highlight with the same tube colour. Also, when looking at the reference photo, there was lots and lots of colours in these scales. So you'll see me occasionally going back over the ones I'd already done with a different colour, just a spot of a different colour, just to give it the variety that the real lizard had. Now this sort of steely blue grey that's all over the face and a little bit down the neck, that's sort of running out now, and the rest of the scales were either yellow or orange. The orange was one colour I didn't find in the tube, so it was a simple matter of choosing a red and a yellow and making my own orange. Yeah, I've got myself locked into this technique, which was I think was working quite well, where I just put spots of one base colour and then go over it a second and third time to just emphasise certain scales, because this iguana's skin was very folded, and so there was lots of shadows and highlights. At the moment I'm only given a little thought to the shadows, because my intention is at the end I'll put a wash of black in the shadow areas to bring out the contrast. Yeah, these scales did seem to be very orange in the shadow areas and very yellow in the highlights. Well, not the highlights, in the areas that were exposed to the sun. Plus there was blues and greens in all sorts of places as well. It really comes to life when you put the highlights on. I'm hoping it'll go to another level once I get the deep shadows in. I'm using the reference photo for an indication of where all the scales are, but I'm not copying them exactly. I don't think it matters if my scales want exact 1-to-1 of the reference photo, as long as I keep the feel of it. Right, I'm on to the final stretch of dots. I was starting to get fed up with painting dots, so getting this close was very welcome. Apart from on the face, this leg had some of the largest scales in them. I think that's purely due to the fact it's closest to the camera. But it kept the same sort of formula: yellow in direct sunlight, orange in indirect sunlight, with some blues and greens added after. I'm just doing the ground it's standing on with ordinary acrylics. Right, here's the I've got a very thin wash of acrylic, not metallic, black, just to darken all the shadows. And there we have it. Well, thank you for getting this far. I hope you watched all the painting process. The end result is here. Now, I really hope, trying to move it around a bit, I really hope you can see just how metallic this really is. I couldn't be happier with the way this has turned out. I'm just not sure whether it'll come across on the video or photos, but in real life this looks like I've painted with metallic. So as to the this is a review after all, so as to these metallic paints, and I did use a little bit of these ordinary acrylics. Oh, wait a minute, just forgotten something. Before I started, I did a little test because I wanted to know what background to put on the painting to get the best out of the metallics. And fortunately, with this little test, the top two are the metallics. They really come out well when you put them on a black background, which is very fortunate because the lizard had a black background. In between all the scales, it was mostly black. So that saved me having to put it on white and then painstakingly go around every scale in black. Didn't have to do that. Huge time saver. So, well, I think the only way the metallics could achieve this is on the black is to be really opaque and really full of pigment. Down the bottom here, I was curious to see the ordinary acrylics, to see their covering power, and yes, they covered black perfectly. So you can't say better than that. These paints really do have a lot of pigment in them, which is excellent. So what can I say in summary? I found these paints to be excellent. As I said before, the covering power is brilliant. They're very smooth and buttery. They really are professional quality paints, and at a reasonable price. I'll be putting a code in the description that you could use if you want to buy these paints yourself and get a discount. If you use the affiliate links, I'll get a little bit myself as well, which would help the channel out. But no, this is my honest opinion. These are really good quality paints. So, thank you.